everybody, welcome back to Lisa Gollum Art. So last week we did count them, three backgrounds. Today is the first one. Without further ado, let's get into it. So first you're seeing me lighten the canvas with some zinc white, which is transparent. That way you don't obliterate all the work you already did. I'm just using a pencil to just kind of rough in some of the main trunks of the tree because I'm doing a heart-shaped tree. I'm sorry you can't see it really well, but of course I didn't want dark pencil marks on my painting, so I'm using a light touch. Now I'm using a small round brush and black paint mixed with lots of water so that it glides on the painting really easily and smoothly. It's a nice light touch. So I've painted a lot of tree branches and I kind of, have gotten fairly good at it. It's something that you get better at after you practice a while. So I guess right now the trunk is the easy part, but as you do it, the water in with the paint is really, really important. So you don't hold a brush like a pencil like this. You kind of hold it, like sometimes I even hold it just like this. And the angle to the painting and the brush is sort of like this. So the bristles are trailing behind the handle. Couldn't think of the word handle. So you're not like this, because then you're not going to get a fine line, you're going to get splops. But if you want a nice line, the angle is important and the lightness of the touch is important. And the closer you get to the end of the branch, the lighter your touch should be. The harder you push, the fatter the line. That's another hint. I usually paint in the direction the branch grows as well, but not always. I never do anything always. I'm very erratic. You know that. So you heard me say to paint in the direction of the branches, right? That's why I turned the painting upside down, so I could paint, like this instead of like this. Like painting upwards is more uncomfortable. Just pulling downwards is so much easier. So turn your painting whenever you want to make it the most comfortable for you with your brush.
Lots of hints today, lots of hints.
Hit that like button, comment if you've enjoyed the video. I would love to hear from you, and make sure you're subscribed and that you hit the bell, because that really, really, really helps me out, and it makes sure that you're not going to miss any of my future videos. So it's a win-win, and cost you nothing but a little bit of mouse exercise. Clicking that little mouse. Click it, click it, click it, click like, click like. Click like. How do you say click like? Can you say click like 5 times fast? Click like, click like, click like, click like. You cluck like a chicken. Click, 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 click. But I digress. Let's get back to the video. You notice that I didn't make the heart a perfect heart like you would try in school. I try to make it a little bit unpredictable. I really do love the way the background turned out in this painting. It's just very whimsical and not realistic at all, but kind of just has a forest vibe because of the color scheme. So it's just rich and Can't tell if it's sky or forest or a combination of the two, but I love that. It's just sort of mysterious. All right, we're turning it back right side up now. And you can see it's starting to form a little heart shape with the branches. I know it might be a little cheesy, but you gotta love cheese, right? I like cheese. Don't you like cheese? It's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is full of cheese. Cheesiest holiday ever, but I love it. So this video is a lot of watching me paint branches. I'm gonna warn you. So I have sped up some of the footage a little bit. You can, I also made chapters in the video, so you can always skip ahead. But if you're painting along, you might not want to do that. You might actually want to slow the video down. It's all up to you. Okay, so now the tree has dried and I'm taking some, again, zinc white. If you don't have zinc white, that's okay. You can either use white mixed with quite a bit of water and then dabbed off on your napkin. Or you can, if you have medium of any kind, which is basically colorless paint that you can mix with any paint color, will help the transparency. So I just do that so it doesn't, not overwhelming. Now I decided I didn't want pure white, so I'm adding some blue into the white. Because pure white looks unusual in a natural painting or a natural thing like a tree trunk. White is a little weird. So when you're putting the white on, a lot of it's just kind of abstracty. You're not really trying to make it look hyper realistic. At least I'm not. You might be. I'm not. I'm not a photorealistic painter. But I'm just kind of getting the idea of light and shadow because bark is kind of rough and has unusual and unpredictable texture. So you don't need the highlights and to be super predictable. They can just be wherever. Because I'm using zinc white, when the first layer dried, it wasn't quite white enough in places. So I thought I'm going to add one more layer of highlight before I move on. Wanted a little more highlight in my bark, especially in the trunk area. And most branches I put at least a little highlight, otherwise it looks kind of flat. So one thing that makes your objects in a painting look more 3D is when you have light and dark. But really, the more different shades of a color that you use in a painting or an object that you're painting, the more realistic it will look. Because nothing is just all one color, especially when the light hits it in certain ways. So now that I have highlights on, I wanted to reclaim a little more darks because that'll make it pop. That'll up the contrast, and contrast will really draw the eye. So you'll notice with the heart shape, the heart is kind of the focal point. So I wanted everything around there to have a lot of high contrast. So because the background is fairly light behind the heart, I want some really dark black to make it really pop. And again, I'm not trying too hard to worry about where I'm putting it. I'm just kind of making it a little unpredictable, and maybe, you know, picking a side of the branch, of each branch, to kind of make the shadow side, basically the opposite side to where I put the whitest highlights. So there you go. Getting lots of hints today. So I really hope you try it. And if you do, let me know in the comments. I actually do have a Facebook group that you can join. And you can actually even show me your work there if you really want to do that. So I'll put a link to the Facebook group in the description down below. This is about the time when I'm teaching that I usually tell people this is why they call it art work and not art play. Sometimes it takes a lot of patience and a little bit of time to do every little branch and just keep going. But it's also very meditative and quite peaceful. I love it. It's very relaxing. But it does take some work. Turning my painting back around to the right orientation again. Okay, now the white highlights were just a little white. So I wanted to pick up another color from the background to kind of reflect onto the tree bark. So I chose a little bit of pink because there wasn't as much pink in the background. So I thought I'd draw it out by bringing some pink into the tree. Also gives it a more fantastical kind of look, a little more like fantasy, and pink is a Valentine color, right? Pink and red. So that was all the reasons why I chose pink. Just to give you an idea of how I think what goes on inside of here. It's kind of scary sometimes, but that's okay. All right, so one of the very last things I wanted to do is I wanted it to be really bright in that heart space behind the tree. And it wasn't quite as bright as I wanted, so I again took zinc white just to brighten some of that space to even more so accentuate that focal point of the heart shape. Now I'm painting a heart carved into the tree trunk. And I'm putting my husband's initial and my initial. D for Don and L for Lisa. Well, you knew that second part, of course. I patted it with my hand. I know that's weird, but just to pull some paint back off to make it look a little bit less perfect. Because it's paint, when it's sketched in, when it's etched into bark, it wouldn't look perfect. Okay, there we have it, our first of 3 Valentine paintings. I was going to put all 3 paintings in one video. That was the plan, just like I put all 3 backgrounds in one video. But then I realized I had 4.5 hours of footage. I wasn't going to go in one video. So this is the first painting. I might put the next 2 paintings in just one video, but that'll be coming up very soon. So thanks again for hanging out with me, and I hope you had fun, and I hope you try it, because that's the whole point. All right, thanks again. Peace and love. Bye.